A few messed up things that I have kept to myself. Warning, some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share some recent r/confessions posted on Reddit. A few messed up things that I have kept to myself. At 15, the guys in town decided that they were gonna be in a gang of some sort. I tagged along, and then I got the crap beat out of me for initiation. Came home later, tried to cover up the bruises. Didn't work, grandmother saw it all. I lied and said I got jumped. She had me talk to cops. Cops kept pressuring me to get me to pick a few black kids that had been troublemakers in town, but I didn't want anyone to be falsely charged. Never picked out anyone. Never identified anyone. Kept saying I don't know, etc. Eventually over time it was let go. The whole gang thing didn't last too long either, it faded out on its own and everyone moved on to something else. Got the crap beaten out of me for some dumb stuff and lied to everyone to protect my friends. Still friends with those dudes 10 years later. At 17, ran away from the cops after my one friend decided to make a Molotov cocktail and set it off in a tennis court. Cops came. We bolted, but I took the lead since I knew the area and all the paths. Cops chased us on foot, don't know for how long, I just remember looking back once and seeing flashlights moving, nighttime. I jumped fences, ran through people's yards, dove through bushes, outran a dog, etc. I felt like Jason Bourne in that short time, adrenaline was pumping crazy. Lol, escaped with my friend and no one ever found out. And my last secret, hooked up with my old friend's mom. Old friend doesn't really talk to me or anyone anymore, he changed for the worse and moved away out of state. He left, and I stayed friendly with his mom, we bonded, I helped her through tough times, and then we started hooking up. Old friend doesn't know, he rarely talks with his family. His mom is thinking about divorcing her husband and she said that she wants me all to herself. We still occasionally hook up. I've kinda backed off a bit since she's still married, but we still talk. Never told anyone about that. Also, I targeted, harassed, and bullied this guy really bad that my ex claimed assaulted her. Never had to fight him since he ran away every time I got close to him. This went on for a while until that guy moved or something. The problem here that I didn't know at the time was, my ex was a pathological liar. I still don't know today if that guy was innocent and she framed him for the attention, she was big on attention, or he was actually guilty of the crime. If he was innocent, then I am sorry, man. My bad. Stole a scooter in a time of crisis and awoke to guilt. 2 nights ago I was coming home drunk as fuck, my stomach was grumbling, rumble pack style. As I put the key in the front door of my complex I had visions of fried chicken, cause I was fried chicken. After arguing with my phone for 13 minutes I realized my favorite chicken vendor was doing collection only. I had already metaphorically locked eyes with this chicken, so I turned around and as my foot escaped the threshold I see it. My steed, my 2-wheeled temptress, my long-necked giraffe mobile. The annoying neighbor kid's scooter. Before I could battle my inner turmoil at the thought of being caught I was off into the night, gliding with the finesse of a figure skater. I was 2 inches off the ground on my platform, but I was soaring with eagles. In no time at all I was at the Chicken Palace. I was the recipient of 5-star service. The manager had me seated at a lovely doorstep outside and ravaged my fried goods. Notes of cinnamon and the finest oil permeated the streets and I was satiated. Onward. I whistled my noble steed whom I'd given the title Patricia. But my noble steed gave not a whinny nor a whimper. She was gone. A thief in the night, a highwayman. The regret I felt was overwhelming. How could I have let Patricia fall into the hands of crookery? Beguiled I set forth on my journey home, my feet fell heavy on the frosting ground. My stomach full, but my heart empty. As I entered my manor waves of guilt overcame me, blasted with emotion. Patricia wasn't truly mine, I was the thief in the night I sought so hard to vanquish. I wailed into the blue speckled flooring. After a long slumber I awoke to the sound of the neighbor kid in his own ocean of sadness. Immediately I went to the local giraffe mobile vendor and purchased the finest green steed. I left a tapestry scrawled in my left hand for they should know not what I had done. I got him a green one, but she isn't Patricia and she never will be. I broke into multiple houses at the age of 10. My neighbors, across the greenbelt area between our blocks, had a house beside them that they owned and rented out to vacationers in the area. I grew up in a tourist town, so a lot of people would visit during the summer to rent a house and go hiking/swimming/biking and whatnot for a couple weeks. There was one particular family that stayed in this house every summer for 2 weeks, and, as I lived in the rich, safe, white people part of town, they felt safe enough to leave the doors unlocked when leaving for a couple hours. As a friend to the kids, I felt bold enough to enter the house. Don't ask me about the leap of logic, I don't understand it myself, and I simply walked up to the door and entered the house. It had several stories, 2 and a massive basement with a master bedroom and a man cave, and a well-stocked kitchen that I spent about 25 minutes searching for candy. I explored the house for a few minutes before deciding to head downstairs and watch a movie, and take a massive shit in the bathroom. Around 3 p.m., I figured it was time to head out, as the family would likely return soon, and I went upstairs to the door that led onto the upper deck. The family returned a little sooner than I expected and I ran down onto the lower deck and made a break for it across the lawn, hoping they wouldn't see me through the massive sliding glass back doors. The second time I visited was much shorter, with a few minutes laughing myself off the deck with their swing and sitting in their empty, hot tub, imagining I was the owner of the house. My other breaking and entering adventures were much shorter and less interesting, mostly in halfway finished houses. I like the smell and I like climbing the bare timbers, and I never came as close to being caught as that first time when the family came home early. I blackmailed my uncle with threats of sexual harassment. Months ago I made a confession post and I think now is a good time to tell what happened since then, since it was a lot. In my first post I told what happened when I was a preteen and blackmailed my uncle with threats of sexual harassment if he didn't give me the attention I wanted. At the time I felt good doing this, but when I got older I felt worse and worse until I realized that I fucked up and lost my favorite uncle forever. A lot of people curse me, others said I deserved to be really raped, but others were nice and gave me advice on trying to fix things. A few weeks after I made the first post I wrote an email to my uncle apologizing myself, but he never answered me. A few more weeks after that he came for my grandfather's birthday and I saw him, but he completely ignored that I existed and I didn't have the courage to talk to him either. I also know that he always brings something to my cousins when he comes to town and visits my aunt's house, but this time he didn't bring anything to anyone. I wondered if it was because I would be there and he didn't want to give me anything or he didn't want to get the rest of the family confused not giving a gift just to me. I was very angry and frustrated because of that. I felt that I was worthless even though I just apologized to him and that he was punishing me for the rest of my life for something stupid I did when I was little. I stayed like that for the next few days and my older cousin, 22 I'll call she Julia, noticed, and then I decided to tell her. She was really furious with me and said that this was the stupidest thing I could do in life, that I could have destroyed our family and you know the rest. But she is really soft and upbeat and agreed to help me as long as I asked my mom to go to therapy to understand my problem with men. Well, I did that and started doing the sessions. Some virtual, others face-to-face, pandemic stuff. I didn't tell exactly what I did to my therapist, but from like 6 months of sessions, I have some behavior disorders resulting from father absence. Doing what I promised to Julia, she spoke to our uncle someday by the middle of November and told him that I told her about everything I did and that everything was a lie, and that I feel horrible about it. She didn't want to tell me how he reacted or what he said, but she said that he said that at least I have done something to get a diagnosis as something and if Julia think I'm okay I can go with her to meet him at the mall somewhere else in week he's going to be in town for Christmas. I don't know, I feel like a drug addict in rehab and sometimes I get frustrated with it. Sometimes I feel like I did the worst thing in the world, sometimes I think he's overreacting, but at least he'll give me a chance to talk to him with my cousin. I don't know if he really apologizes, or he just wants to stop having this problem when he come to visit our family, but I wanted him to like me again and that I stop feeling like a slut. I read 2 different people's diaries without their consent. A few years back I briefly started dating a girl that I had been friends with and crushed on for about 2 years. We didn't date long, about a month and a half before things turned a bit bad. We were able to salvage our friendship though and all was well in the world again. A year later she asked me whether I would be interested in becoming her roommate. I had been in a bad living situation with family, and so was she, so we decided to make this move and find a flat together. At this time I was still crushing on her and hoped that if we shared a living space we could rekindle our relationship and end up together. However, what ensued was a mental nightmare. I became a bit obsessed with her and trying to figure out what was going on in her mind. One day while she was out I noticed her diary on the coffee table and I started reading it. I was really shocked and hurt to see what she wrote about me. When face to face she would treat me with a lot of respect, crack jokes with me. She would even tell her family and other friends how close we were. But in her diary she came across as looking down on me, referring to me on several occasions by insulting names and phrases. I never confronted her about this, but needless to say my heart was broken and I moved on with my life after a period of time, even asking her that we part ways so I can spend time by myself. Fast forward 3 years, I met an amazing woman and we fell in love really hard. We moved in together a while later, started building a life together. I eventually ended up proposing and she said yes. This brings us to the present day. My fiancée keeps a diary as well. Yesterday she went to work and I woke up late and noticed that she had left her diary on the couch. I read the latest post and this is where I need advice because it is really scary. She wrote about suffering from severe depression, and having suicidal thoughts. It shocked me. I haven't spoken to her about it as yet because I don't know how to tell her I read her diary, but my first and biggest concern is her. She is always happy, bubbly and loving as a spouse and I care for her deeply. But knowing she has these thoughts scare me so much and I really don't know what to do. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.